Greetings, peoples. I'm an android, this is Bytes of Food, and this time I'm just going to talk about a restaurant that I attended on Sunday. A bunch of you may have seen a series of ads, like before you went to the movies at South Bank, which was this weird ad about this guy just yelling in a park about how a revolution was coming, and no explanation about what he was talking about or anything like that, and no information. It was personally so frustrating to me because it didn't tell you anything. It just said, the revolution is coming, and the restaurant revolution. And I had no idea what was going on. And then eventually, as I was walking through South Bank, I saw, well, a bunch of construction and great big signs around it saying Channel 7 Restaurant Revolution. I was like, okay, so they're building a restaurant for this thing I have no understanding of, but I'm frustratingly curious about now. And then the other week, a few weeks back, when I went to the regional flavors thing down at South Bank, we saw that the restaurant was finally open, which was like really interesting because it's called Puerto, and it's a sort of South Asia meets South America, tacos and curries and stuff like that, and the menu looked really good, actually. The tacos, the beef, braised beef cheeks, there was so many tasty looking things on the menu. So me, my friend Puerto, and my little sister Annie, all decided, yeah, we will come back. That looks good. And so we did. Last Sunday, we came in at about 11:30, 40-ish. I was running late, I'm sorry about that. And we took a look in the place to see if we could get a seat, and there was a bit of a lineup. Thankfully, the hosts, who I eventually found out was actually one of the competitors in the TV show, was taking down people's names and telling us that there'd be a turnaround of about a half hour. And when he took our names down, he decided to make a joke because my name is actually very close to that of an alcohol. And he's like, oh, if you want to imbibe, you can bring in your own booze. Just go to this local liquor dealer and mention us and they'll give you a discount. So as we walked over to this bottle shop, bought some ciders and walked back, and during that time, that was all the wait we needed to finally get a space for three. They had us at a shared table in the center of the entire restaurant, which was interesting. You sort of got a 360 view of the place from there. There was nothing really hidden. And so we got to experience a lot of it before we even got the food there. We were sharing the table with a couple of other families, or it might have been the one family. It's just, there were two people who were sharing this, I don't know if it was cod or some other fish. It was this fish taco set where they had a whole snapper, just whole damn fish in a bed of slaw with tacos, and you could just assemble your own tacos from the fish, and it looked so good. I was so envious. And then there was this other couple, I think they were having the goat rendang, and that looked tasty too. And eventually, myself and Relinquo, we decided we'd go for one of the banquet meals, which had an appetizer, a main, and a side. And Annie, she decided to go with the scallop ceviche, and because she'd already eaten that day, so she didn't have that much of an appetite, and I would pass her some of my food. And so Relinquo and I got pretty much the same thing. It was a salt and pepper squid starter with the tamarind braised beef cheeks on taro, with a stuffed pepper on the side. And then for the actual side, the stuffed pepper was part of the main meal. I had the deep fried plantains. I've never had them before. And he had the corn with miso mayo, I think. Yeah. Guys, was so tasty. The ceviche was so good. It was delicate, it was sweet, it was a little bit salty because they had salt on these tortilla chips that you would use to take out the ceviche. The only thing in my mind that it was missing was just a little bit of heat. If it had a tiny bit of spice to it, I think it would have been perfect. But it was so good, so delicate. The juxtaposition of the softness of the apples and the scallops with the crunchiness of the corn chip. Oh, so good. But yeah, Relinquo and Mine Starter, the salt and pepper squid, was a little floury, but it was also delicate. It was, you know, sometimes with squid, you can either get it so that it's really chewy, or you can get it where it's just like a runny egg. My brother has a means of making, like, calamari and like really, really, really soft, and it's like you're eating egg whites. This was a nice balance between the two. It had a good bit of firmness to it, and the seasoning was on point, and it came with this cabbage coleslaw that was really, really nice. It had a nice bit of heat from the cabbage, which for some reason cabbages have. That was, yeah, I really appreciated it. And then we moved on to the mains. As we were waiting for the mains to come along, we saw it. Somebody else had ordered it as well. It was the braised beef cheeks with tamarind, and oh, it was huge. We had been planning on having a dessert, but then when I saw that, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not finished. I don't think I'm going to finish that. Even with Annie helping me, I'm not going to finish that. And it was true. It was a good, filling, hearty meal, and I couldn't finish it. I had to leave some of the taro discs behind, but oh. Okay, to start off, I think you get 2 cheeks with it. There are 2 hunks of meat on top of a taro stack, with a good bit of sauce on the top of it. Relinquo got more sauce than I did, which was a little bit of a shame in my opinion, because that sauce was really, really good. But I took the top meat off, got to the second meat so that I could give some of it to Annie, and I gave her some of the stuffed pepper, some of the taro, some of the braised beef cheeks, which was, I didn't even need a knife, guys. I didn't need to cut it. It was just, I'd get the fork, put it down, and then move it away, and it would just pull apart. It was so tender and so very rich. And yeah, all of the components separately were really good, but all together they were also really tasty. But so filling. And then I had plantains for the side for that, which was interesting. I've never had plantains before. I knew that they would be like savory bananas, but I wasn't expecting them to be. I knew intellectually that they were starchier, but I didn't realize that they were pretty much potatoes. They are as starchy as potatoes, and if you season them correctly, they're pretty much chips. We had them deep fried with a lime mayo. The mayo was a down point for me in that entire dish, because the mayo was store-bought. I spoke with one of the guys who turned out to be the competitor later, and it turns out they were having budget issues. I don't know if it was part of the competition or not, but they said they're going to be working on it. So they might be homemaking mayo, they might be going for maybe store-bought egg mayo or something like that, but it sincerely tasted like they took some craft mayo and just added lime juice to it. It wasn't the best, but the plantains were nice. They were interesting. I've never had them before. Wouldn't mind having them again. I didn't have the room. And towards the end of things, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to forego the starches. The taro, the taro, just soaked up all of the sauces. It was so good, but I couldn't eat it. I couldn't finish it. And the desserts looked so good. I wanted one of the desserts, but I couldn't eat it. It just would not go in here. So yeah, I feel sad about that. Part of me wants to go back just so I can try one of their desserts. Because yeah, they had a chocolate fondant thing that looked so good, and I want it. But yeah, all in all, that place was really appealing to me. As an Aspie, I really liked the sound of the place. Maybe it was because they needed that place for recording, but the acoustics were set up so that you would not get a lot of echoes. They didn't have any music going on in the background, so it was mostly the conversation of the people around you and the people at your table, and you could hear everybody at your table clearly if you wanted to. There was this bit where the first family across from us left. They finished up with their fish tacos, and they all paid for their meal and left, and another family came in with 2 little girls and the 1 mum, and they were adorable. And the mum was trying to find stuff to feed the tiniest little child, and the child was like, I want chips! And this place didn't have chips, and I'm like, try one of my plantains! Because I wasn't gonna finish it. And they were like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, no, please, somebody enjoy some of this. If she doesn't like it, she doesn't like it, and there's no loss for anybody. But yeah, you could hear the conversation across from us if you were wanting to pay attention. We were deliberately just having our own conversation on the side, but it was really good that way. Also, the little girl was like, yeah, I'll have more of these plantains, please. Yes. So, I felt proud about that. But yeah, so sound design-wise, I really, really like the place. Annie, who is the visual design / arts person, home decor-ish person in our group, was like, there was a lot of good elements, but the assembly was, you could tell it was rushed. The paint jobs got noticeably a lot rougher, and not as deliberately rough looking, the further away from where the cameras would be looking you got. And I personally didn't mind a lot of the aesthetic, but Annie was a little squinty-eyed at the seashells that were hot glue gunned to the wall, which, for a fine dining experience, and the pricing is a fine dining experience, not like high fine dining, but definitely this is the sort of thing you want to go out on maybe once every few months. And for that sort of experience, you expect a little better implemented decor. That was the biggest gripe, but it was a bunch of other small things. Like, they had a lot of props on the wall, like hammocks and fans and other stuff, and you got the idea that they wanted to make a Asian-inspired beach house thing, but the individual elements just weren't cohesive. They just stuck out against each other rather than blended in. And there was this really nice terrarium thing hanging off the ceiling with all these little plants in them. It looked really cute, but if you actually paid attention to the plants, they were a little bit dying, which was a bit sad. I liked it. I tend to gloss over that sort of thing, but it was the sort of thing that did not gel with Annie all that much. I mean, it wasn't bad, it wasn't horrible, it's just, they have a ratings booth in the side of the building where once you finished your meal and you paid up, you can, if you want, give a rating for the restaurant. You can rate on service, which was really, really good, by the way. Every time a server came by, they were very friendly, they were very informative, they were very fast, and they were very just on point, and you cannot fault the service, I don't think. But they also ask you to judge on atmosphere, and Annie judges on atmosphere a lot just because she's trying to build her eye on that sort of thing, and so a lot of that stuck out to her. And she did like a lot of things. I mean, I'm mostly harping on the negatives, but she liked the earthenware bowls, she liked the table we were sitting at, which was a mix of, it was basically an industrial design with raw exposed wood and glass on the top, which was really nice. The seats that we were on were really good. They were adjustable stools, so you could make sure that the height that you were at was perfect for you in eating. We all enjoyed them anyway. But yeah, no, there were a lot of good elements with the atmosphere of the place. It's just, there are a lot of notes it also did not hit. It's not that it was bad, it just wasn't up there on a fine dining experience, that's all. But yeah, I really like the place. Food, yes, except for the mayo, no. Service, yes, yeah. And atmosphere, I'm doing this follow-up review because I did do one for the show. I'll put a link to it down below so you guys can see it, but they only give you 60 seconds. That's not nearly enough time for me to blather on like I do. So that's what this was for. So yeah, if any of you are in the Brisbane area and you have a good bit of money, it's a little bit expensive. The meal that Relinko and I went for was $55 with the starter, main, and side. And then there's drinks that are separate. Like I said, we got the ciders from a local bottler, so a bit more there. If you're looking to have a special occasion and you don't mind cameras filming you and possibly your image being distributed globally, then go check out Puerto. It was really good. I liked it. But yeah, I'm an Android. This was Bytes of Food. And if you'd like me to rant about any other restaurants that I've attended, or if you would like me to talk about any other food, if you'd like me to try and get my hands on plantains and eat them in front of you, please let me know in the comments down below. Or if you want me to do any more food challenges or anything, just if you want me to make some content for you, please let me know and I will probably make it for you. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.